Previously on the Frontier Farmer. So our first mission is going in and winching out all of these logs, and then we can drive on in to our little wood storage yard, and then we should be able to press the trigger and store the wood. There we go. But I think this is the last cluster. 219,000 litres of wood. Let's get this first load in the trailer. Phew! Well, that is the second load all loaded. We will creep out of the homestead. And here's the second load. Let's get it sold. There we go, another 29,000. Start to plough up this area. Well, we're actually making pretty good pace with this plough. And this is the last little slither of our brand new field. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Frontier Farmer at the Dark Forest. This is the new field that we created last time, and it's got lots of stones in, which we will need to clear at some point. And between this session and last, I got busy creating a little track that cuts through to our yard area. And got some fantastic news. It is now July, so our oats are ready to harvest. I was expecting them to be ready at the earliest point of being able to harvest oats, and it is. So that is fantastic news. We will be getting on to harvesting these. However, first of all, it is July, so the best sell price for soybeans has cropped up. So we're going to jump in the farm hall and get the trailer, and we can load up the soybeans that we've got created from our open garden and get them sold. Yes, our flatbed trailer is parked in this shed. So let's pull it out and head over to the open garden so we can get our pallets of soybean loaded on. Here we go. So we have quite a few lighter boxes, which are the ones with soybeans in. And the ones down the far end, which are darker, are the potatoes. And we don't want to sell the potatoes yet because it's not the best sell price for those. But we can lift up these boxes. So I'm going to get these all loaded on, and then we can take them over to the distribution centre. There we go. So I think that's 7 boxes on there, so we can get it strapped on, nice and secure. Don't want any falling off. We can hop on and drive to the distribution centre to get this all sold. Aha, we have made it. And I can see the sky is a little bit misty, still quite early in July, but hopefully that burns off in the summer sun. There we go. Right, we've got these 7 boxes to sell off, and we should be getting best price for these. 14,000. That is pretty good going. Awesome. Alright, so I'm actually going to be leaving the farm hall and this trailer here, because it's a great chance for us to look into buying a harvester now we are over here. So let's park up and take a look at what the distribution centre has got by way of harvesters. So taking a look, and the best equipment the distribution centre can afford to us is this John Deere Lands MD250-S. Now it's a rather old harvester, but it looks pretty funky if you ask me, nice and vintage. It's 60 horsepower, and it can carry 1,500 litres of whatever we are harvesting. And it doesn't tell me what width the header is, but I'm guessing that's probably about 3 meters at a guess. Yeah, we are going to go ahead and buy this. $12,000. And here is the old girl, the John Deere Lands. Let's step in and have a little look. Oh, there we go. The old girl has fired into life, but she's a running, so that's good. I think I can see 2 very old batteries down there on the bottom. There's a rack for them. And let's take a little swivel round. It's obviously got the auger pipe that folds out, cranks out by the sound of it. And let's get that back in. And then over this side, you can see all the pulleys and wheels, which is pretty fantastic. Let's have a little cockpit view. And we've got a very old wheel, but let's get a rolling. And we can head back to the homestead. And then I will need to come back and get the tractor, because we are going to need to unload this harvester after we've got a fair amount of our oats harvested. Now she's managing 12 miles an hour through the forest, and that's not too bad. Only 2 gears it seems on this machine. Right, we are back at the homestead, so I'm going to get nicely lined up for us to harvest. But I am going to refrain from getting started. I need to go back and get the farm all, so we can load the grain trailer on the back, and then we've got somewhere we can unload to after we've started delving into our oats. So let's leave the harvester there for now and scurry back to get the farm all. Ooh, always a bit of a tough jog through the forest, but we are back. Let's fire up. We can leave the trailer here, because as mentioned we are going to be needing that a little bit later, and I'll show you what for. Yeah, let's head back, get the grain trailer, and then we're ready to start our harvest. Harvest time is always an exciting time, and luckily we've got a nice clear day. There's a bit of cloud coming this afternoon, but yep, it seems like we're good to get cracking on our first harvest of the homestead. Now this seems to be the trailer stash point, and we've got our brother to the flatbed, this BSS grain trailer. There we go. Cover off, and let's get it somewhere appropriate for us to unload the oats to as we're harvesting. Alright, I'm thinking somewhere there is probably good for a starter. Okay, let's hop back in the John Deere Lands, and I'm so excited I can't wait to get harvesting. So let's fire up again, get lined up. Right, so we want to turn the harvester on. It's kicked into life, and we want to lower away. Right, so let's get a rolling and harvest these oats. Fantastic. And of course we are dropping straw, that is a byproduct. So luckily this harvester can manage and process the straw and take all the stalks and the husks off and dump them behind, which is pretty handy. So of course we will need to get some form of baler, and that's why I've left the flatbed trailer at the distribution centre, because I have a cunning idea with the baler that I've seen available. Here we are harvesting for the first time on the homestead using our rather vintage John Deere lines. 15% in the hopper already. We're making some good progress. Awesome. Right, I'm going to get stuck into this, and I'll see you when we're all finished. There we go, that's the last slither harvested, and it's been quite a fun job using this harvester for the first time. It's a nifty little thing, not the fastest, not the widest, but sure is a nice vintage harvester, and it's certainly done the job for the first time on the homestead. And we've got a bit more in the hopper to unload. We've done 2 hopper full loads into the trailer. Now, one thing I noticed is the hopper is slightly too short for the walls that we've got on the trailer, so we've had to give it a little shove to get over the lip of the trailer, but not to worry, that's alright. But I will remember for next time that probably not going to be harvesting over or to the full amount of this trailer. But we had this trailer at the full because we were carting some of our silage from the silage bunker in the previous one. But let's get this unloaded now. In it goes. And there we go. Fantastic. Some lovely sounds coming from this creaky old harvester. But we will get it parked up somewhere nice and safe. We will need it again hopefully next month, next session, to do the sorghum in our second field, which is very nearly ready to harvest. I'm hoping that's going to be ready to harvest in the earlier section of when sorghum is harvestable, because we did plant it nice and early. Now that's looking a bit too tall for that shed, and I think in our other tool shed we do indeed have the forage wagon. So I'm maybe going to have to shift some equipment around. For now I'll probably just park the harvester next to this trailer and we can do a little bit of a sort later on. But yeah, I don't want to be leaving this harvester out in the elements. We will need to make sure we stash it away. Maybe we'll need another one of these sheds. So that's the field all harvested, and of course we have dropped some straw swath. It's a little bit thin. I could come along with the windrower and sort of blend them into thicker swaths, but I'm not really going to do that because it is an extra job. But of course, to collect up this straw, we are going to need a baler. Now, we don't need a baler, but bales I think are going to be the easiest solution for us collecting up the straw and for transporting them later on. We could of course use our forage wagon that's in the tool shed, but I think we would fill up more than a forage wagon's worth. And I've got nowhere to store straw at the moment, but I do have plans for straw. So yeah, that's going to come later on. So we need to store it and transport it easily somehow, and bales I think is the way to do it. Okay, so we've got 3,406 litres of oats. Now that is pretty fantastic. So let's get the cover on, and we're going to drop this trailer back where we found it, around the back of our big stilted shed here. Now we haven't got a silo, so we can't store the oats anywhere, so I am just keeping them in the trailer for now. But again, I have a plan for the future on what we're going to do with oats. We are going to look to create some sort of mill where we can turn these oats into flour, and that's going to increase the value of them and also increase our ability to do something with flour. So that is exciting, but we will leave the oats in the trailer for now. Right, so it's back over to the distribution centre and we need to pick up a baler. So let's go see to that. Right, back we are, so let's have a look at balers. So the best baler I think available to us is the Fortschritt K454. Now this is a quite old baler, and it's got this swooping arm here where it can deposit bales into a trailer. And what's handy is we can get a trailer attacher, so we should be able to run one of our dollied trailers, the one I've got at the distribution centre, alongside this, and that can stash the bales. That might or might not work very well. We will have to test and adjust, and if it doesn't, we can just manually load the bales because they're light enough to pick up, because it makes conventional sized bales. Now we're also going to get the 3-point attacher for this, as our tractor sometimes needs a drawbar to attach that sort of hitch, so a 3-point attacher really helps us out there. And I have changed the colour to Case IH to match our tractor. I'm not sure if Fortschritt do a red, obviously the logo is red, but typically their equipment is blue, but we've gone for a red. and that is $12,230. And here it is, the portrait, and it looks pretty good if you ask me. I think it's going to be a good match for our tractor. So let's get hitched up to it, and we can see about hitching to our trailer behind as well. Fantastic. Alright, there should be an arm somewhere for attaching the trailer. Okay, so it turns out we need to unfold the baler in order to get the attaching arm out. That makes sense, and is probably going to be much easier for stowing it in a yard. Right, so let's try and steer up if we can. There we go. We have hitched up. The flatbed trailer does take a little bit of a time to hitch up. But there we go, we are hitched, and we're doing some sort of dance between the baler and the trailer, but that's alright, seems to be working. But one change I am going to make is I'm going to add a cage to the trailer so the bales don't just fall off as they tend to do. So let's just do a quick configuration on this trailer. There we go, we have added a cage. It's not very tall on the sides, but it is tall on the front and back, so hopefully that will do the job of keeping our conventional bales in check. Now I've got to try and meander down the forest path without catching any trees, so wish me luck. Just about managing, snagging a few branches. Ideally I think you probably would have taken both of these pieces of equipment separately, but saves us some time. And we made it back without snagging any trees. Now I'm going to loop round here so we get a better angle to start on the first swath. And I'm thinking we'll follow the same clockwise round the field for baling. The bale trailer is going to be driving over the next swath along, but that doesn't matter too much. So let's turn on our baler, and we want to lower the pickup, and hopefully we should start to see straw going into our baler. There we go, fantastic. And the trailer is going to be following on the next row along. Now once I've cleared the headland I can go the other way, so I'm not driving on the next swath, but if I was to drive the other way now I'm going to be snagging the bale trailer on the trees, which I definitely don't want to do. Right, so I'm going to get busy with this. I'm going to start to see some conventional bales popping out and moving along the chute, and hopefully depositing nice and neatly onto our trailer. This is all to be tested. If it doesn't work, we'll probably deposit the trailer and come along and manually pick them up afterwards. Here we go, I'm having to stay quite tight because the trees are in the way. I think our first bale is working its way along the chute now. That's pretty cool. And I can imagine that we're probably going to have a few bits of swath to tidy up once we're done, because there is a little bit of swath straw littering around the place. But not to worry. So I'm going to get busy with this, and I'll see you when we're done. And there we go. So I have baled up as much as the swath as I can, probably working with the trailer. And there's a fair few on the floor, but there's also a fair few in the trailer, so it's not done half bad. Now I am going to unload this, and it's going to fire a load off and completely miss the trailer, which is fantastic. So I think ideally you would probably have someone on the trailer loading them up, but we are a solo homestead, so unfortunately we haven't got that capability in our inventory. We don't have a farmhand. Maybe we could train Artemus to help us. But yeah, unfortunately I'm going to have to do some manual loading onto the trailer. But I've also got a few little bits of straw knocking around that I do want to collect up. So I think I am just going to remove the trailer tow hitch from this baler using our trusty little maintenance machine here. And then I'm going to quickly mop up the rest of the straw and get the straw bales all neatly stacked on the trailer. Okay, so I've collected up all the scrappy bits of straw so we can get the last 2 bales that we managed to grab out of the offcuts and bits onto the floor, and we can fold up the baler and get that tucked away. Again, we are out of shed space, so we are going to need to expand our yard. Seems like only yesterday we constructed it, but we are already needing to grow it. Perhaps we can put the baler in front of the sprayers, although I'm sort of mixing equipment purposes. Right, got a bit of a mess here of bales to tidy up, so leave that with me and we'll get them all nice and neatly stacked onto our trailer. What a mess. Whew. And there we go, I have stacked them all on top. Now I did try to stack them a lot more neatly, however when I did, they decided to do the lovely bale trailer shuffle and move around and squirm all over the place. So I just had to shove them back on and try and keep them all strapped down so they don't escape. There we go, we've got 21,500 litres of straw. That is not too shabby as a output from our first and reasonably small oat field. So yeah, the straw cannot be forgotten about as a byproduct of our produce of oats, and that is going to get stashed quite nicely in here, and we will keep it on the trailer because we do have a purpose for the straw coming up, and I will show you that in the next session or two. There we go, we can leave this trailer quite nicely in here, keep the straw nice and dry, and we can head on out and get on to our next task. There we go, oats all harvested, and our sorghum in the second field is in the last stage of growth. Here we go, so that should turn a nice golden brown colour and we'll be able to harvest that when it's ready. Now, whilst I remember, I am going to deactivate our open garden from making soybeans, and we are going to switch it to sugar beet, as we've already got a good amount of potatoes, and sugar beet is also reaching the best sell price in January, like potatoes, so should have some beets and potatoes to sell in January. And as for our next job, we are going to pick up the stone picker, and it's off to our latest and largest field to get the stones cleared away, and luckily we have a nice little track through here that we can reach it. Here we are. So yeah, probably larger than our first and second field combined. This field is going to be probably our main crop producing field in the future. But yeah, we need to get the stones cleared and possibly get it lime spread today if we have time. We will see how we get on. Stone picking doesn't seem to be too long a job, but it can be a bit finicky because we haven't got any modern stone pickers. We've just got this lovely old bucket. So what we want to do is we want to lower it down and get the pitch right, so we are picking up stones but not dropping them off. That seems to be about right. So yeah, we want to make sure that we are pitched up enough that we're not going to be doing that funny depositing stones back on the ground. That looks to be pretty perfect. There we go. So if we fill up a bucket, I'll have to obviously do a deposit. And I'll probably stash them somewhere near the silage bunker like we did last time. There we go, we are clearing the stones quite efficiently. Although I did just miss that little patch here. Always got to make sure you catch them all. There we go. Right, so I'm going to get busy whirling my way around this field, collecting up all the stones. And I'll see you when we are finished. And there we are. That's the stones all picked quite nicely, and I think we've even got a little bit of a stump that we missed, and it's just been picked up by the shovel. Now we nearly filled 2 shovels worth to clear this field, so we've got a bit of a pile of stones over here by the silage bunker, but that's okay. We will keep them, and we'll either turn them into some piece of gravel track, or we might look to turn them into lime once we can get some sort of stone crusher up and running that is going to make lime. And that would be quite useful because we do go through quite a bit of lime when we have to lime the field for the first time. Right, so let's just get our bearings and drop these stones off here and make a pile. There we go. Now we can get rid of this little wooden chip by sawing it away. There we go, very nice. Okay, so that's all stone picked. Got a little bit of time left this afternoon, so I'm thinking we might try and lime that field. But let's get the bucket parked off first, and I'll have to dig the spreader out. We did bury it behind the new baler, and we can grab our spreader from here. There we go, that looks good. We swap this out to a slightly bigger one. We had a very tiny one to begin with, and this one has increased our lime capacity, but I'm thinking that we are still going to chew through the lime very quickly. But I think we've got about 8,000 litres in our new commodity storage yard, so let's get some lime loaded. There we go, 950 litres in each load, but we are going to chew through that very quickly, I imagine. But this spreader does have quite a good working width. I think it's 28 meters. That's probably for fertilizer and probably a little bit less for lime. But I'm going to get stuck in, and I'll probably have to do quite a lot of trips back and forth to get this all covered. So I'll see you when we are. Ta-da! All dusted with lime. Now that is a lightning quick job because of the spreading width, but we just run through the lime so quickly we've had to reload 2.5 times, but we've got 30% to deposit back into the commodity storage, so that's quite handy. But yeah, seems the first time we lime the field, once we've created it, it really does go through the lime, but that's not to worry. Right, so let's get this lime deposited back. Spreader dropped off. And I think we also have time to get that field cultivated, so we will grab the cultivator and work our way through the field. We can get started in the opposite direction, so let's lower the implement away. And yeah, we should get this hopefully cultivated in no time at all. And that's going to save us some time next month for getting our crop drilled. And we're probably going to put wheat or barley in this field, because that comes up quite nicely in August, drilling wheat or barley. And that is going to help feed some chickens that we are going to get after we've harvested our sorghum. And that means we're going to have some sorghum this year and into next to feed some chickens, and then if we drill some wheat or barley, we're going to have some feed for them next harvest time as well. Fantastic. Right, let's get this all cultivated, and then I think we can call it a day.
Let's carry on. No reasons to stop it. I wouldn't do it on my own. I can't deny it. Still trying to build and trying to be. There's no way home, and I have no mercy. There's no way up, so I'm going down.
Lifting up, and that is the whole field nicely cultivated. So that's ready to drill when we can drill wheat or barley. And been quite a nice turnover of that field, and also a turnover of this field, our first field that we put in. And we planted drilled oats, and now we've harvested those oats. We are stashing them in the trailer, and we plan to use them at some point soon to convert into flour, which will be interesting. But we've got a couple of things that we probably need to get operational before we do that. And of course we also baled the straw and collected that on a trailer, which we've stashed away, and we will be looking to use that for a production in the future as well. Let's get this cultivator parked up. I'm at a completely wrong angle. And there we go. Oh my goodness. Did you hear that? Sounded like a werewolf. Crikey. Well, luckily we finished before 5 o'clock and before it's going to get dark, so we can scurry indoors and get away from whatever that was. I might have to go into the hunting pulpit, see if we can see anything that's been walking around the dark forest. That's sent a bit of a shiver down my spine, that werewolf noise. But let's get in our log cabin and we can lock the door behind us. Well, that is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed watching. If you have, remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. If you've got any tips, tricks or things you'd like me to do, then feel free to leave a comment. But until next time on The Frontier Farmer, I will see you then. Cheers all. Bye bye.